Speaker, I'd like to speak today about another kind of gun violence that makes our streets and homes unsafe, and that is the deadly encounters between civilians and police officers. Mr. Speaker, I have racked my brain trying to understand these deaths. I have grieved with the mothers who've lost their children. I have met with experts and attended roundtables on how to find a way to mitigate these fatal police encounters. Let me tell you, I think I can propose a solution that we can all support, and that's H.R. 3060, the Preventing Tragedies Between Police and Communities Act, which would link law enforcement training on de-escalation techniques to receipt of federal burn JAG funds. Now, Mr. Speaker, I certainly wish that I could take full credit for this concept, because I think that this legislation would both save civilian lives and police lives. However, this idea is rooted in the Police Executive Research Forum report, which both Republicans and Democrats have cited. It was rewritten by police officer peers, by police officer experts. Mr. Speaker, what they found is that police academies require 58 hours training on how to use a firearm, another 49 hours on other defensive tactics. And while they only they don't require, they offer voluntary eight voluntary hours on how to employ de-escalation tactics in crisis intervention. We need to require this de-escalation training. This de-escalation training, the curriculum would be to use verbal and physical tactics to avoid escalating the situation, use the lowest level of force as possible, and a safe response to identified threats, be aware of mental health and substance abuse issues, and crisis intervention strategies in order to appropriately respond. This training would provide police with the tools they need to prevent violent interactions and save not only their lives, but the lives of civilians too. We know that kids are out of school and that the tensions in our streets are high. Police on alert, and far too many of us are distrustful of the police due to the painful and frightful memories of how many deadly encounters have dominated headlines, close to 1,000 in 1 year. How can this Congress recess for the summer and not take up this bill? Yes, the Affordable Care Act is a big issue here before us in Congress. But if you live in communities of color around the country, the immediate health care issue for you is being shot by a police officer who has been sworn to protect you. If you die at age 12, like Tamir Rice, who was shot by police for playing with his sister on a playground in Cleveland, how can you be concerned with Medicaid? If you're killed at 31 years old, like Dontre Hamilton, who was shot 14 times by police for resting on a park bench in Milwaukee, nursing home care is not your priority. You won't have the fortune of living that long. I ask my colleagues to prioritize preserving lives by supporting this legislation. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman yields. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Hill, for 5 minutes.
I thank the Speaker. Today I rise to recognize one of Arkansas's finest, Colonel Robert A. Ator II of Little Rock. A veteran of the United States Air Force, Colonel Ator retired on June 3, 2017, after proudly serving our country for 28 years. Before joining the Arkansas National Guard, Colonel Ator served 11 years on active duty with the United States Air Force. He's a veteran of several major combat operations, including Operation Desert Shield, Operation Desert Storm, Operation Provide Comfort, Operation Provide Promise, Operation Joint Forge, and Operation Noble Eagle. Gator is a graduate of the U.S. Air Force.